Hi, I'm Geoff. In this episode, I'm going to show you how I made the drawers for this jewellery cabinet. Stick around. The jewellery cabinet has 3 drawers. I'm going to explain how I designed and built the drawers. One of my design goals at the outset was to have a complementary front on each drawer so that it looked like it was one piece of wood. In this case, what I've done is I've got a book-matched pair of boards which I have cut to the appropriate size for the false fronts.
I resawed a jarrah board to get both halves of the book-matched fronts.
The design of the drawers is the same, only the heights are different. This design approach is intended to combat the parallax effect, where things that are closer to us appear to be larger than those that are further away. So the idea is, if you're looking downwards on the drawers, they all look about the same height because of that effect, when in fact, they are obviously different sizes. After some trial and error in the design process, I chose to make the top drawer about 1/4 of the height of the interior of the cabinet. The height of the second and third drawers is based on the height of the first drawer, but also includes the height of an internal drawer blade. We add the height of one drawer blade to the height of the first drawer to get the height of the second drawer, and we add one drawer blade to the height of the second drawer to get the height of the third drawer. One thing to note with this type of drawer is that the height of each drawer will not be a standard size, say 100mm or 75mm or 3 or 4 inches in the old term, but each drawer will be proportional to each other, and visually they will appear more pleasing than if you had them at 75, 100, etc. The drawers themselves are a fairly standard design. I've used 3 dovetails front and back, and I have made a false front. The drawers themselves are made from sycamore, and obviously the drawer fronts are jarrah.
I resawed the drawer parts from sycamore and glued them together to obtain quarter sawn grain. This reduces the amount of vertical movement in the drawer parts. The shooting board came in very handy for ensuring that the drawer sides were square and the same length. I used dividers to mark out the sides of the dovetails. I typically allow 5mm for the shoulder and then mark out the sides of the tails relative to the shoulders. I use a knife or a cutting gauge to mark the shoulders. I choose to saw the dovetails without using a guide to improve my sawing skills. You could use a dovetail guide if you're not comfortable doing it this way. I use a chisel to clean up the shoulders, using the knife line as a guide. The knife line leaves a clean cut that is easy to see, which helps. I won't show the glue up of the drawers because it's fairly straightforward. I trimmed the drawer fronts to length using the shooting board while the glue dried in the drawers. I planed the drawer sides to prepare for a piston fit. I'm using a drawer board which supports narrow drawers while I'm planing them.
I like to make drawers using what I understand to be the English tradition rather than the American tradition. And what's the difference? As I understand it, English drawer sides tend to be very narrow. And the base of the drawer, or the drawer bottom, is mounted into what's known as a drawer slip. I understand that the American tradition is for drawer sides to be thicker, with a dado or groove cut in the side of the drawer to accept the drawer bottom. I think it's personal preference, but I prefer the look of these sorts of English type drawers to the American ones, and that's why I build them. I've made drawer slips from Jarrah because Jarrah is far more hard wearing than the sycamore, and I thought that over time the sycamore rubbing on the Jarrah drawer blades would wear out the drawer sides. So making them from Jarrah will help reduce that and extend the life of the drawers.
I made 2 sets of drawer slip blanks from a single board. It's quicker and safer to do it this way. I cut a pair of grooves at the router table before ripping the drawer slip blanks from the board at the table saw. Each drawer slip has a groove that houses the drawer bottom and a tongue that is inserted into the drawer front. I cut the tongue by hand so that I could finesse it into position. The drawer slips were glued proud of the bottom of the drawer side and needed to be planed flush. I used pencil marks to help me see when the drawer slip is flush with the drawer side.
The drawer bottom has 3 tongues. One tongue is inserted into a groove in the front of the drawer, and the 2 other tongues are used to slide into the drawer slips. This provides a rigid support for the drawer bottom. The drawer bottom is only glued in at the front of the drawer and is allowed to expand backwards and forwards with the seasons. The drawer slips facilitate this and keep the drawer bottom flat.
The drawer bottom is glued up like any other panel. The tongues were cut on the router table after the panel had been sized to fit the drawer. Well, I hope you found that interesting. If you did, please give us a like below or a dislike if you didn't like it. If you have any comments or topic suggestions, please leave a comment below, and please consider subscribing to our channel and clicking the notification bell. That way you'll stay up to date with our videos. Thank you for watching.